We're going to be doing the Battle of Himera here, but the first battle of Himera. But we want to talk a little bit about the special rules for Tyrant itself, which is a module for Alexander. I gotta pay attention to that. Okay. So what does it give? Well, it gives some historical background on the Sicilian campaigns as a whole. These are, this is a generational, several generation struggle running. Oh no, that's the running from 480 to 276 BC between Carthage and essentially Syracuse, but there may be battles with other city-states here as well for control over Sicily. There are some special rules for some of the units which come into play in specific scenarios. So for example, let's see, there are going to be some elite commanders other than, because Alexander's not here. We have the Balearic Slingers, which are able to change to missile range. They have a longer range, and they have more of a chance of causing leader casualties. And then they have different penalties versus the heavy armor. The Scared Band work kind of like phalanxes. They can double up phalanx. They can use square. And then they have a high cost if they're damaged. The Carthaginian noble heavy cav, and we actually have that in here. It's back here somewhere. Huh. I thought it was in this one. Oh, there it is. Yeah, it's the one Carthaginian counter in this scenario. These are an early version before the Sacred Band horse shows up, of kind of the nobility class having their own kind of elite unit. And it doesn't have a lot of effect. It has a higher RP cost, and I think that's it. All Hoplite heavy infantry and LP units are allowed to use pass-through avoidance for the chariots. These guys are fairly used to dealing with chariot combat. There's a bunch of irregular infantry, some lights with missiles, medium infantry, skirmishers, and peltists are not affected. Okay, so what do we have? The following apply to all missile-armed light infantry and medium infantry. Skirmishers and peltists are not affected. Okay. And we have a significant amount in here. They get a bonus, or they get a penalty assessed against their attacks, their missile attacks on the heavy infantry, and they get a penalty to orderly withdrawal. These are less formed, less capable units than you see maybe in the Alexander area. The Persian relied so heavily on their missile combat, so the game probably takes those into play. Some leaders are going to be wing leaders. These can issue line commands in their initial non-momentum order phase without a die roll. I think that's actually something that's covered in the original. We just didn't touch on it. I haven't touched on simple GBOH at all. It didn't exist at the time that my game was designed, and then, but by the time, I don't think, maybe it's in here. No. By the time that this module was written, simple GBOH had come out, and it actually covers the battles for this, or covers this particular game system. Very briefly, GBOH is supposedly a simplification in the game. it really isn't a terrible simplification of the rules. You still have a pretty hefty set of rules to learn. I don't know if they have as many special cases, etc. I would suspect so. The big thing that it does is it takes away things like cohesion hits as a concept, and it ends up speeding up play and making you make less mechanical actions where you have to put a counter on the board here or there. So it streamlines the play of the game, which can be very pleasant for some people. Me, I like the level of information that's being covered here, and I also like the level of detail. And I'm not really all that concerned with one of the claims that a lot of people make, which, yeah, it doesn't change the overall effect of the game. Yeah, well, that's interesting, but one of the reasons I play these games is to get that extra level of detail and add to my story there. So I tend to stay away from simple GBOH. I don't think I've ever played it. I've looked over the rules. Okay, how about this battle itself, Himera? This is sort of the first clash between Carthage and Syracuse. In fact, the ruler of Syracuse, he's here, I think it's Gelon, is sort of the guy who made Syracuse a big city. He was tyrant of another city, Gela, and ended up taking over Syracuse and conglomerating population there because it's got such a good port. Now, his father-in-law, I think it is, ended up seizing control of a city and becoming tyrant, which had connections to Carthage. The Carthaginians went to support that, and here they're fighting Syracuse itself at the city. Now, this is a particularly interesting situation because a Hamilcar, or a Hamilcar. The Carthaginians had like 3 names, that everybody had, at least of the nobility. And he sets up 2 camps, one over here and one over here. This one to protect his boats, and this one to help sort of encircle to the town of Himera, or city of Himera. And he's prepared to launch an attack. However, the Syracusians have managed to slip 3 of their own units into the seaside camp, and under the pretext that there's some Greek city-state that was supporting the Carthaginians. The hills and stream, the elevation level of the stream, they're going to make things difficult to maneuver in. Okay, so one thing that the Carthaginians have as a problem here is they don't have their overall commander. He's just killed himself because this has just been kind of revealed, and he's been thrown into, or jumped into, the altar's fire. Alright, what about special rules that handle this? Well, first of all, we have line command eligibility. The heavy infantry hoplites can be done as a line for Syracuse, and the heavy cav and light cav can be done as a line. And that's pretty much all their units. They have these, and then they have a little cav contingent here. Oh, and another one up there. Carthage cannot do any line commands. The ramparts on the Carthaginian camps are not significant obstacles. Carthage does not appear to make much effort to fortify. Any foot unit on the rampart attacked solely from outside the camp has an additional tactical quality point. Entering an unoccupied rampart hex in either direction costs an extra movement point but does not have cohesion effects. Chariots cannot enter the rampart. Or cannot cross them, I guess. The city walls, however, are impassable. Only Syracuse may retreat through the gates. These units are then not counted as route point losses, but they can never re-enter the map. Okay. On the first game turn, Carthage may not activate any of his leaders. The Syracuse player conducts his activations normally, with the exception that no leader may use momentum. The Trojan column, which is these cav here, are disguised as Carthaginian allies from Selinus. In the first game turn only, any Carthaginian units shock attacked by units in the Trojan column have their tactical quality reduced by 2, and the attackers are considered attack superior. The Carthaginians may not use reaction fire against these units. The Carthaginians retreat towards 3600, the edge of the map here. Syracusans towards 60, the other side, or into Himera itself. No specification as to which to give precedence to. I suppose towards Himera is allowable if there's nothing blocking your clear path there. But that's kind of a command decision, maybe, you know, or a game decision that could have significant impact. It may be that it should be the closest. And okay, Carthage has basically 2 separate armies here, so they have 2 withdrawal levels. 65 rout points for the sea camp and 80 for the hill camp. The Carthaginian army withdraws and the Syracusan player wins when both sections of the army withdraw. If the section exceeds its level, remove the rest of its units of that section from the map. That's going to be kind of tough because it might be hard to distinguish if they manage to somehow get together. It's not terrible, but there are some brown units down here and some here, and it maybe not everything that's supposed to leave will leave. Maybe more than supposed to leave will leave. I don't think that's a big deal, though. Syracuse's route total is 100 tactical quality, and we have their percentage ratio here. Syracuse has a higher percentage for their route ratio, so they have a little bit more staying power. It says Syracuse has 20,000 infantry and 3,000 cav. Carthage about 30,000 foot, 1,000 horse, and 150 chariots. One of the problems is the horse transports that Carthage was bringing across, a number of them sunk. And then, as with anything with GBO, with the simple GBOH, we have Himera being, you know, given its own rules that fit into GBOH. Okay, well, we're about ready to start. First thing we should do is investigate the movement chart a little bit. We have a few terrain pieces here, other than the ones that are very much called out. One is the streams. They cost no additional movement point cost to cross, but they cost a cohesion hit to chariots and infantry crossing them. That's going to be, you know, that's not that major. And obviously, if you're in column, it's not going to matter. Up and down a slope level, we're probably not going to see more than one at any one time. We have +1 movement point for that, and a cohesion hit going up for everything except elephants, which we don't have, and down for infantry and chariots. But there's a marker for infantry. LP and LI do not pay the cohesion cost. Skirmishers never pay any cohesion costs. They can flow around where they like. Now, we have to compare the initiative ratings of the different leaders. Now, we don't worry about the Carthaginians here, but I got 5, 5, 4, 4, 3. So, this little Trojan column is going to be the first thing that actually moves. And here's the problem here. These are light cav with javelins. They're not going to be charging. So let's look at that special rule for the Trojan column. These are disguised, the first game turn only. Okay. So we would like to shock attack, we would like to fire. What we'd like to do is we'd like to hit real units and not really worry too much about these tribals, which don't look terribly effective. So, I'm going to hope that I'm pretty successful here. There would normally be reaction fire at this point, but there isn't. And I don't know where my 10-sided dice are, so I gotta go find them. To put any kind of shock markers here. Now, these, I had to look this up because I'm trying to be correct here rather than just use my memory. These all actually have to get these shock must check TQ markers, and I'm just gonna put one on top of the whole column because we know what's going on. Because they moved to contact, I wasn't sure if they had that counter because they didn't have to attack. But first I get to fire some missile fire. And let's see if we can find that. We got a javelin coming in there. This is a horse javelin. So I need a 1 through 3. Now, I'm shooting against heavy cav. That's not cataphracted, is it? No. So I think there's no modifier there. It's kind of hard to tell because you have to kind of skim through the whole list. But so on a 1 through 3 I hit. I do not, but I also don't get a 7 through 9. Similarly here, these are also heavy cav. Nope, and then the other one is hitting light cav. I don't get any advantage against that. Oh, these were a couple of 8s. So actually, these guys have been marked with missile low markers. Now, not everybody uses the same stacking. You have 1 unit per hex and a bunch of informational counters on each hex. I like to put the missile low on top. I like to put the cohesion hits underneath. Some people like to put them on top. That obscures things too much for me. Now the attacks themselves, we have to make quality checks. So we're going to do these one at a time as we go down the list. Now remember, the Carthaginian tactical quality is down 2. So we're looking at a 6 and a 6 here. Both are okay. 6 and 5. I'm assuming the Syracusans are fine. Both are okay. Okay, Carthage, or Syracuse, actually, ooh, these are only 5s. I don't think this guy had a problem. This guy actually takes 2 cohesion hits, and I'm going to put them behind him because that number is probably going to change. Now, the attacks themselves. We don't have to worry about the Clash of Arms table or anything like that at this point because this is a special situation at the beginning of the scenario. These are all going to be attack superior. Guess you're getting that charge into play. I'm sorry, we don't have to worry about the shock superiority. We do have to worry about the Clash of Arms table. So we've got light cav hitting heavy cav. This isn't good. The heavy cav is being hit. They aren't allowed to reaction fire, but they were allowed to reaction reposition. The heavy cav's being hit in the front, which is a big deal. This is hard to read. Okay. Which means I'm going to be on the 5 table. That's not a terribly good table. 7's kind of the average. And I don't think there were any advantages there, except I'm attacker superior. I roll a 2, which sucks. So the attacker... Oh, no, it doesn't. Does it? Yeah. The attacker takes 3. The defender takes 2, doubled because of the superiority is 4. So this guy's in pretty good shape. This guy, not so much. And I'm going to put these underneath because they're pretty much resolved. Okay, likewise here. Light cav versus heavy, that's going to be the same chart. There's one difference. which is that I've got a charisma, which gives me a +1. Throw one charisma over at the end of the counter there. That gives me a +1 to the attack, and I think that's all there is that's different. Okay, so now I roll a 5 on the 5, which says I take 2, and that's fine. And these, what are they? Venetians. Take 4, I believe. Which is still not enough to put them at any real problem. So this is not having the effect I would like it to. Maybe I should have charged those. And now here it's light versus light. Light cav versus light cav. That's going to get us on the 7 table, which is, again, the evenly matched table. I have no pluses. Ooh. Ooh. This guy's 1 below. Because remember his tactical, I'll have to look that up, but his tactical quality has been lowered by a couple. But that may just be for the initial contact. Alright, let's take a look at this. There's no pluses here. That's going to be the 2-2 result, which means we take 2 more. That puts us to a 4, which is definitely 1 below, so we'll leave that there. And this takes a 4, which is, according to us, 1 below, perhaps. Okay. Let's see what we have here. Yeah, I'd say his tactical quality is -2 right now until the end of this attack, which means he has to make a check. So now we see collapse checks, and this is really a hard game to play with the camera in hand. But this guy is 1 away from his tactical quality, which is 5, so he has to make a tactical quality check. And he failed it, which means he's going to rout. Now normally he wouldn't be close. You can see there's, if you do everything specifically the way the game says, there is a significant mechanical overhead here. Now I'm going down here and making this check. Both guys are at 5, looking at the possibility of going over. Both rout. This guy's 4 over, this guy's 1 over. So the Carthaginian stays where he is. This thing breaks instead. And now we have to handle their retreat movement. Well, I can get rid of this. These guys are routed and low missile. They just start their run. This guy's more complicated because he's going through stuff. I'm going to have to take a peek at the route through rolls because I haven't done this in a long time. So my easiest path is going to be this way. And I route my 2 hexes and then I got to keep going. But what happens here is these guys take an immediate cohesion hit. And now they have to make a further check against their tactical quality. And they also rout. We don't have to plow through these units once there's a path there. And now these guys have the same situation. They just take their single hit. These succeeded, but it was after the combat, so we don't advance. There we go. Now, this leader is not allowed to get momentum. Got a little missile on both. So he ends up with a finished marker, or flipped over to say finished. That means I'm not going to try to activate him again. And now we go on to the 4s, who are over on this side, and start moving them. One thing to note, there are very few games, and this one is not one of them, where having played a fair amount of it, you remember it completely. Yeah, this becomes, you know, a lot easier to pick up again. And I've played a damn good amount of GBOH. Each game is a little different, so that's one factor in it. But also, there's so many little pieces to the rules and so many little steps, especially in these earlier ones. Before Chariots of Fire. Chariots of Fire really streamlined this system a lot. Got it somewhere between simple great battles of history and what used to be. And it seems to work fine. Although I don't really like it that much in Hoplite, so it may be just that it works really well in the very fluid situation of Chariots of Fire. But when you're picking up a game again that you've played, you know, even extensively in your past, there's a lot you're gonna. It's not quite like starting all over again, but it's not too far from that. There are some exceptions. The CWB series, I feel like I can pick up pretty quickly, mainly because I've made up a lot of rules for that, so I don't worry about looking them up anymore. You know, there's a lot that's kind of. It's not so much that I made up the rules, but interpretation of how to handle the command situations, which is where things are really complex there. Well, I'm not too rigid about that. So the particulars of how I write rules and every orders in that game end up being pretty general. But with this, it's going to take a game or two to really kind of get the feel for it again. All right. Well, let's put some dice over here to remind me where I'm going to go, because I got to go to work soon. The next activation, Syracuse again, because they're the only ones who get to go. I've got a bunch of small projects right now, and one of them is very high priority. I can't actually work on it, and I don't want to start on another one. I'll steal a little time here. I'll probably make it up. I've been working late every damn day just because I steal time. Anyway. Yeah, I feel like I have to excuse myself from you guys for some reason. I don't know. Because this guy's got an L, and it's the first action of the scenario, he can actually order his unit without having to make an initiative roll or anything. I'm not sure who my overall commander is. I assume, yeah, it's Gollum here. So you'd have to be in range of him to get a line command otherwise without rolling. But here we have no restrictions, and we're gonna we're not allowed momentums because of the turn. So I'm gonna do a movement line command, and we'll see what we get here. Boom, we're coming forward. Everything's gonna be shock, TQ check. Remember, there's a slight TQ bonus for going through the whatever that little barricade is. It doesn't seem like it has much effect though, right? We looked this up. TQ and its movement cost, okay. Alright, here we have a problem, which is that if we wheel, we're going to take a hit. But if we don't wheel, we're kind of in the way. So we're going to take that cohesion hit, that's 1, and we have to make a roll. These are Spartans, so they're pretty good. Okay, so we just take a single cohesion hit on this. Here we're coming down off the hill. That's a cohesion hit. 2, 3, that's a cohesion hit but no check. So now I'm at 2 hits. And then I strike. And this 1. Oh, hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4. I had to pay an extra movement point. I may not be that far yet. So this is 1, 2, because the slope, I believe, I don't know if it costs infantry. Maybe not down. Yeah, down costs an extra movement point too. Okay. And these guys don't have the special movement. A Macedonian phalanx would be able to run at higher speed. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4. That's one cohesion hit. And we got a couple more to quickly move in the same way. I'll be back. So, what am I thinking? Oh yeah, I'm not going to do most of the scenarios in this level of detail, but since this is the first one back to the system in a while, I want to do this in detail. And then it does a couple of things. It keeps me honest, right? And it also keeps gives a little bit of a view if somebody's, you know, not used to my videos, whatever. They get a little bit more detail than I normally give. All right, so I've got attacks. I've got to declare those attacks. So this guy's going to hit these two. This guy's going to hit those two because that's where our fronts are. And let's see what we've got. I kind of want to look at the sequence here to make sure I don't screw this up. Because again, I get really sloppy. Okay, so first of all, we had missiles. When we entered this hex, we had 2 missiles shot at us. I didn't take care of this. We actually, looks like we had 3 missiles shot at us. So we'll check those javelins. 1 hit, 2, gee, I don't know. Probably not. These are foot javelins. They have a base of 5. Heavy infantry adds 1. So far I'm still hitting. But we have some special rolls. Most of the infantry are irregulars. Add 1 to missile die rolls against heavy. Okay, so this is going to hurt. So we're only hitting once. Those are irregulars, and they're not going to have the same success chance. And the third one does not hit and is low ammo. Now this doesn't really matter because these guys are foot units. They're going to run out of missiles as soon as they engage. So I got 1 hit on him. And this guy's getting shot at by 2. I'll use blue for the low missile because I don't have to really worry about him getting out of missiles. Okay, and we got a shot there. Hey, we got any leader loss checks? I probably should not have put my leader into the battle. I want to keep my leader out of the battle. Even though he gives some advantage, it causes too many problems in terms of command if the leader is actually directly involved in the battle. So we'll move him a little off the line there. Otherwise I have to look up a roll, right? Okay, and this guy's now out of missiles. This, again, not a big deal because we're going to be out of missiles very shortly. Okay. So now we were going to go 1 on 2 here. We have heavy infantry hoplites. Let's make sure, again, the special rules on those lights. Anything else? Yeah, they have a penalty for orderly withdrawal. They're not withdrawing, they're packed in there too tight. Which means we go to shock resolution. We got to check TQs at this point. Okay, so I'm going to check TQ for the 2 Syracuse units, and then worry about the others in a moment. Succeed, problem. He goes up by 2. He's kind of disordered by this charge. And now we're going to work our way down the line here. These guys are 5s. They have a +1 to their tactical quality because they're behind that line now, so they're actually 6s. So we have a hit here. We'll put them on top for now. Ugh. 3 hits. No. No. Okay. No leader combat. Clash of Spears. Okay. So what we were looking up here. Now let's look at shock superiority because I want to know that beforehand. This is just so what we have here is heavy infantry, which has a plus, which means it has to make this check up against skirmishers. So I'm attacker superior, so I'm going to get the bonuses for that. Now heavy infantry against, oh, these aren't skirmishers. Sorry. Heavy infantry against light infantry is attacker superior. Heavy infantry against light infantry in this game is going to be the 9 chart because I'm up against the front. So we're at the 9 chart, attacker superior, no other benefits. So I roll an 8, which means I take 2 and do 6. Now my 2 puts me to a 5, which means I'm close to breaking, which could be an issue. But I do 6, and I get to allocate them. So 2 are going to go here and route that. And 3 are going to go here. No, 4 are going to go there. I had 6 total, and route that. So look, we win. Okay, those don't go away yet. Now here we have the same situation, that 9 chart, no mods. We don't roll quite as well, so we get 2 to 4, which means we're here, and they take 4. Well, I'm going to do all 4 of those on, I think I want to hit this guy. Everybody's no missile. Don't worry about that. The routed units can't, so I don't need to worry about routed units having a no missile marker on them, because if a unit can rally, it can get its missiles back. Okay. So now we look at what happens after that. We have the rout, which means these guys have to run. Well, they've got a long way to run. This guy doesn't run yet. So this guy comes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. Okay, he's going to keep running straight through. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we have checks on every one. Every one of those is taking a cohesion hit, and everyone takes a check. So he just took 4 cohesion hits for the first guy there. You don't want your units packed this tight. He routs. Now that's another unit going through, which is going to cause more problems, but let's keep doing the ones we just assessed. 2, 3 cohesion hits. We'll leave that on top because he's going to be routed through again. And he's fine with 1. Now we take the next one. Doesn't really matter. We'll go along the edge here, I guess. First one, 2 cohesion hits. This advances. Oh, next one. Just 1. Duh. Doing that, just the 1. I gotta get this map closer to my body. It's painful digging over to that degree, especially holding the camera, which is why we won't be doing everything on the camera. And there's 2 cohesion hits. Now we worry about this guy. Now, he doesn't have to go through the ones that have already routed, but in a sense, maybe that's the best move. I think I'll go the other way because that'll give me some capability to exist still. The problem is if I go through these and create a big route, I've created sort of a hole which allows my other units to route through more safely. So let's do that. Okay. That first one, he just takes the one cohesion hit. And again, this is a lot easier when you have two hands. But this is a tough game if you only had, say, one operating hand. There's no question. And that. Okay. Well, we didn't break anything there. Now we have checks. Now, these guys have to make a check to see if, now that they're facing enemies again, yeah, so they have a problem and they rout. Now, they are a problem routed because I don't believe they can be rallied. They've thrown down their heavy weaponry and they're running. And they really can't be formed up into a unit again. On the other hand, this thing holds. And we need a no missile for him because he was engaged in combat as well. Well, that didn't go too well for Syracuse. I'm beginning to think I should have hit these guys first and plowed their position completely instead of going after the cavalry, which honestly was fairly solid, as we can see. I mean, I lost a unit instead of them. Oops. Okay. So that's the end of that activation because we're not allowed to make momentum rolls. And again, there's a lot of special rules in place, which is why looking at this scenario may not be the best. And then this is going to be the next leader activated. In the end stage of that first turn, not a lot happens here. I shifted the cav over this way because there's some cav here, and I'm trying to keep them from taking extra cohesion hits for going down the hill and then back up it. Unfortunately, that interfered with my front line, so I had to detach one of the units and drop it back to the back line. I'm still able to do that, and these guys each give line commands, so that shouldn't be a problem. The problem is this guy's the commander-in-chief, so I won't be able to roll for a momentum back here, but I probably don't need it for the second line, so this is set up kind of wisely. Now comes a bit of a problem, though. We have the routing. And if I recall, units route their full movement point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There goes one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Not quite. Up. Let's drop him back one. That's a chariot. It's not as fast. This thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm allowed to avoid my own units. And this is the easiest way through. We don't have anybody who's recovering missiles or anything like that back here. Uh-oh, this just goes away. Now I've got some points to score here. And here's another thing that the newest deluxe version has sort of a track where you can keep track of the route points. I can see it does, not only because some of the newer games do or because I could look it up, but because the expansions that I have come with these little markers for tracking route points for the nations represented, or for the colors represented in those scenarios. So that's kind of cool. I'm always iffy on those. I actually like the paper better in some ways, although obviously it's nice to provide some components for different ways to handle things. The reason I like the paper better is that I can write down where the limits are and then keep track. So what did we have here? We have some heavy cav, 7. This came off of the C camp. So I can keep a running positive total. I could of course be subtracting, which is probably what I end up doing with the tracks anyway. This thing's a double size unit, so it's worth 12. And so right now, and I'm going to keep these in different places. I'm going to keep losses from the hill camp over there when they start accumulating, just so that I have, you know, a better graphical representation of what's actually happening damage-wise. I hope to get this all on one video. I don't know if I will. Maybe if I step back enough I can. I certainly can't do the level of detail I've been doing, because this is really not a big battle, and I don't know, something in me says it doesn't deserve multiple videos. And slide that underneath. But backing away, of course, is I've shown a special case. The Himera scenario is weird, you know, initiative situation, the weird situation on the first turn, and I haven't shown any further turns. So we're in a little bit different situation here. So we have a 3, a 4, a 5, I don't see any commander there, and a 3. 2 leaders with a 3. I believe we roll a die to see who gets the initiative in this case. In case of ties, the non-Macedonian goes first. Okay. We got a specific rule for this scenario, or for initiative on these. Otherwise, I'll just roll the die. I don't see something, so I'm gonna have to give a die roll here. I don't feel like, well, tactically these guys have the advantage, so I would give it to them, but I'm just gonna roll a die because it's not specified and I'm not sure which is better. So odd, even for who has to go first. Alright, so these guys have to go first, which isn't necessarily bad. I've got these Cav. They have difficulty getting out of the zone of control, though. That's the problem. Difficulty, the leader just can't do it. So I'm going to be firing some javelins here, and then presumably go through. Oh, shit. You know what? The more recent games don't have size, and I've forgotten completely about it. So these guys had a size of 10. These guys had a 5, so there wouldn't have been a modifier there. I'm not sure here, there may have been, but it looks like they're about the same size units, all 4s. So I don't think the size differential actually would have had an effect, but it will here. Because, so let's show that in action, because I failed to even mention it during play. I'm going to throw javelins. The blue one will be the top guy who doesn't. The other one's already missile low. I think that's a hit. This is mounted javelin. Nope. It's not going to be a hit because I'm hitting heavy cav, which I think, maybe not. No, I don't see a modifier for heavy cav. So we do get a hit on this. And since these are the only units being activated, we'll just keep a loose counter out here. I got a routed guy somewhere. He's way outside of command, so there's no way I'm going to be able to rally him with the rest of my units. Okay. So now, this goes to no missiles. And now we can attack if we want to, we don't have to. I have light cav hitting heavy cav. That doesn't sound good. That's going to be the 5 table. I have 2-to-1 odds precisely. These are both 4 size. That's a 4 size. So I'd get a shift. That would get me up to the 6 table. And I've got more units, so I might route this good unit. That actually sounds like a good idea because these guys are just dead meat sitting where they are, I think. Am I attacker inferior is the question. So I've got light cav hitting heavy cav. That does not hurt me. I bet you heavy cav hitting light is attacker superior. A lot of times the attacker gets a benefit on that table. Okay. So I'm on the 5 + 1 is 6 table, and I have a leader who adds 1 to my die roll. That'll help. But I only roll a 3. That's going to be 2 each. I have to distribute my losses evenly, which gives me a 4, which is not a problem, and a 3, which I don't believe will be a problem. He takes 2 or whatever, right? What did we roll? 3, 2, 2, yeah. Which puts him within 1 of running. Which means he makes a morale check or a quality check or whatever. He succeeds. 8 is his quality, which means the 7 goes down from on the verge of collapse to okay. This guy can't roll for momentum because he's engaged in combat, so we flip him over. I'm going to check to make sure I don't have to make a leader loss check. Simply being involved in shock combat and getting any casualties means I make a roll, and I have on a 0 I have a chance that he's killed or whatever. And that's that. Now we go over to the next leader, who's going to be over here, and this is how I distinguish between turns, you know, within a turn, who's going, because I like to walk away. I got to do things. You know, a turn can take a half hour to an hour, some of the bigger battles even longer. So you kind of have to mark, hey, who's next to go. It's not absolutely required. The information is there. You could search through it, but this helps as a reminder for me. I have multiple 3-point leaders here. I have this guy, and I'd rather move him because he's in the front. Now, here's an interesting issue. First of all, I can't command this as a line, even though I've got a line command. I could command just this, but that's really about it. And that may be what I want to do, because I only have an initiative of 3, which means I can only command 3 units otherwise. So 4 units is better than 3, right? I have to figure out what I want to do. And I think what I want to do is, this is a hard call because these are hoplites. They want to charge. And if they move 1, 2, 3, 4, I can hit the enemy line first. And I think that's what I want to do. So, unfortunately, we have to wheel. 1, that's a hit. We don't necessarily want to move here with them. 2, 3, 4, and we're going to have this, and probably everything is. It's all on the line. Likewise, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's put one of these behind for now. Uh-oh. Well, 1... 2, I no longer have a line here, but that's okay because I can activate all units in range for combat. 1, oh, this guy took a hit. I'll put it behind him. Oh, you know, I should be flipping units to indicate that they've moved. This is a bit of a pain. I can try to remember. but okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're hitting here. We have no withdrawal capability here. So now we're going to have hit, 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 but we got a problem. We're also hitting this. Oh well. We have to make our tactical quality checks. Let's see what happens there. So, what are these? These are heavy cav that I'm charging, which are not in charge formation. That can't be good. I think I want to withdraw them. Don't I? No, because they add to the strength of all of this, so I'll leave them in place. Any missile weapons, none being fired. So we've got We'll just check down the line. We'll start with this purple guy. He's got an 8. He's fine. And now we'll go with the blue and reds together. All right, 3 cohesion hits there. That's pretty big. Of course, this can happen to either side. And I've managed to pin his leader. Of course, his leader gives a combat bonus, so that might not work very well. All right, now we actually attack, and these things are not the same size. Oh no, they are the same size. They're all size 10. Okay. It's cohesion. They're not the same. So I've got hoplites hitting hoplites. Let's make sure there's no shock superiority there. I remember there were some kind of shocking situations in some of these, but that does not appear to be the case here, so you don't get an attack superior. Heavy infantry versus heavy infantry, we end up on the 7 table. So we'll do this one first. We'll consider that last one. That's going to be the most complicated. And we're at a disadvantage here because our units suck comparatively. So maybe we should have stayed behind the line. Hitting first is so important though in this system. So we get a 3 to a 2. Oh, forgot my die roll modifier. So I've got a charisma of 3. Holy crap. Okay, well that didn't make a difference. The table is so gradual that the points didn't make a big difference there. Here, get around the 7. Still that gradual table. Now here things get a little more complicated. I'm hitting a larger unit, but it's still 1-to-1 because it rounds in my favor. I don't get to choose what I'm attacking, so I can't say I'm heavy infantry hitting heavy cavalry. Oh look, I get a slightly better table. And I can't say that I get the modifier if there's a shock superiority, which there probably might be. Nope, there isn't. So we're doing basically the same attack. The only difference is the defender gets to allocate his losses as he wishes. Got called away and found out that I have some work finally. I've been waiting on this damn thing. Some files were not uploaded properly is basically what it worked out to be. Okay, so we're essentially on that 7 table as we would be normally. I don't know if I rolled the die, but I gotta do it again. Alright, this is a 2-2 result, and that means each of these takes a single hit, whereas the bigger unit takes 2 hits. Now we checked the morales and everything looks okay. I didn't give him a casualty check. Yeah, he didn't get one. I think actually I'm supposed to do that before the combat because there's a negative effect if he's killed. So that's one action or activation. Since I didn't engage in combat, I can roll for a continuation. Now I'm just using my initiative rating here, and I fail, so I'm finished. If I had succeeded, be potential for trumping in. Okay, so I used a second 3-liter. There is no second 3-liter over here, which means now it is forced onto this guy. And I've got a lot of units and not a lot of capability to command them. So for example, this, I could command a line here, but I can't command the whole clump. It's not like a cav line. And what I want to do there is hard to tell. I didn't flip over units that have moved, you know. Eventually I'll start getting into that habit, but right now I feel like I've got enough of a grasp on the scenario I don't have to worry about it too much. I should be dotting my I's and crossing my T's, or dotting my T's and crossing my I's, but I'm just not doing it. Moving on with the high detail for this turn at least. Move to the 3 of the infantry here, not using a line command or anything, just the orders. Shifted them forward. One of them took a cohesion hit for going down the hill. And now, let me make sure, yeah. Ah! Light infantry do not pay that cohesion hit. Awesome. Well, I might have done a little different movement. Now I roll for a continuation. And I need a 3 to get that. I don't get it, so I'm flipped over. I couldn't move my leader without expending an order. And I want to keep him, you know, close by so I can use him for other commands. So that, I think, is the end of the 3-point initiative leaders. That's not line, what is it? Contingent command capacity capability. Wow. So once they flip over, they have a contingent command capability? That doesn't make sense to me. I'm wondering if there's an error on this counter, because that's really weird. I don't know why that's there. Okay. Which means we go to the 4s, and we got to go over to this side if possible. So we've got 2 4-point leaders, one here, and I could trigger either of them. Okay, so things become a little difficult here. I've got 2 choices of units to activate over on the Syracuse side. I can either push these guys into play, which don't really matter, because there's nobody commanding those right now. That's not to say nobody could. This guy could run over and take command of them and activate some of them, but I don't view that as too likely at this moment. So I see this as the more important section to command. Now, I could do a line command and command all these guys, but I can't form up, if I recall correctly, for charge if I do that. And there are some heavies in there. Yeah, it has to be an individual order. So I think I'm going to do a generic set of commands here. And, well, am I allowed to do this if I'm in a zone of control? Nope. So these guys are not going to be able to recover, I don't believe. I believe recovery requires you to be out of a zone of control and out of fire zone range. So I'm not going to waste a command on them unless I wanted to pull them out of there, which maybe I do. But let's see what we got. We're going to put him in charge. That uses 2 of his movement points, I think. This is a new rule for me, so. No, 4 movement points, which means I only have 4 left. So 1, 2, 3, 4, I guess. Remember, I can do a reaction turn if I need to. This guy's heavy cav. We'll get him there. 2. Do we want to charge? Sure. 3 will hit here, and that's going to get us a TQ marker. Hey, maybe we don't want to move him. That costs us an action if we do anyway. So that's 2 of our guys. 3, we can't form him up. We could form him up. We'll recover these 2 for 3. I don't know. We'll put him in charge and we'll go in. Okay. Now, here's what's kind of weird with this system. I moved. I'm allowed to command up to my range, which I think is 3 hexes, to generate combat. And so I'm going to be doing that. And that'll include, or that could include, these hoplites. I'm not sure I really want them in here for the simple reason that they have to attack this if I bring them in. I don't have enough range to bring these hoplites in. So what happens if I hit here? Well, I have a positional advantage, so I end up at attacker superior. The shock chart is heavy cav with an asterisk, hitting heavy infantry in the flank, which is going to give me the 9 table. How many shifts? Well, I'm only size 6. These are size 10, but my main unit moved, so that rounds in my favor. So I'm on the 9 table. I've got my leader in play here. I don't remember what his numbers are. Well, he's got +2 is his charisma. I don't remember what all the numbers are on the leader counters. That's always a tough thing for me. I think this is, yeah, it's the strategy rating, the one I didn't realize, in case I want to do line commands. Okay. So I said 9 at +2 to the die roll, and I'm attacker superior. Should be able to bust that thing up. Ah! Okay, 2-2, which means 2-4. So both of my units take a hit. I forgot to roll potential leader loss check. Maybe we don't have that +2. More fun. Okay, and this takes 4 hits, which is enough to rout it. Now, these suckers don't rally, but they can cause problems during their rout. So this has to fall back 2 hexes. It's not allowed to go here. That's in an enemy zone. So I have to go 1, 2, and now I have to keep going a little bit. And now I've got the chances on these things. So this took a hit, and it's got a 7 tactical qualities, so it doesn't take any additional. And likewise, this took a hit, and it's got less of a tactical quality. It's like a 5, which holds. What about the Cav Pursuit? Well, I can keep charging. All right. We have to see whether or not I'm forced to, because I'm in charge formation. Okay, so tactical quality, I add 2 to the result. TQ is 7. I do not roll a 7 or higher, so I'm able to call these guys into check here. And they lose this because they're no longer successfully charging. And we get a possibility of I don't know if we get momentum because we applied our charisma to an attack. I know if we did a personal combat we would be finished. Okay, I'm not seeing it here. Enemy zone of control, or was previously in an enemy zone of control. This was the case. I fought. So he's done for the round. Is there another 4 over here is the question. The answer is no, there is not. So now we're up on this unit. And doing these with the video going is very fatiguing, but I feel like there's something that you're gaining by seeing this, and hence something I'm gaining by showing it, I guess. I don't know. This is kind of interesting. I have some nice choices here. My range is 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to get him. So I might as well do a line command. And I got a shock with no TQ check here, and everyone else is going in with 1. I don't think I want to send my leader in. 1, 2, that's a hit. 3, 4. Did I just take another hit for crossing that stream? Not finding the terrain chart. Yeah, I did. No movement point cost, so I actually didn't have to pay that, but that's not what matters, is it? What about these others? Well, I have to move them. I don't necessarily have to move them in order with these. 1. So here's a weird situation where I'm only going to charge once for crossing the stream because both parts go across. I don't know if that's strictly legal, but 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So I've taken 2 cohesion hits for the stream and for the other thing, and 4. And now I still have a line in place. This guy's not going to be able to be in line, however. I can't put him in column. So 1, 2. I'm sorry, 1, 2 with a cohesion hit. 3, 4, I guess. He's not exactly where I want him, but he's at least somewhat covering my flank. And I'll take care of the attacks. Do I go in detail here? Shit, I'm running low on time. I don't think there's too much. I don't want this video to go hugely long, even though, the thing is, this one, for the first 2 turns of the scenario, is going to take forever, and then the next one's going to be like a 20-minute video covering the whole damn battle, the rest of the battle, however many turns it is. Because I didn't show you this, again, I had to catch up with the missiles. These 2 missiles here, these 2 missiles here. Ended up doing quite a bit of damage to the cohesion of those units. Since I have a line command, I could still throw my commander in at this point. I think it's useful. I think I'm going to do it. It's always such a thing because I'm tying my commander up if I do this. But yeah, he'll probably get flung out. Okay, let's check when I'm supposed to do the so leader loss is not spelled out in this ordering here, and I don't remember. Here it is. Leader casualties come after the final TQ check, I think. Yeah, once there's casualty, no, after personal combat, but before doing shock resolution. So yeah, before I actually roll the die. Okay. All right. So I have no TQ checks here, but all of the brown units from here on do have them because I'm in a front hex here. Even if I'm not getting attacked by that unit is attacking, and another unit's attacking me. So let's take a look at what these give us. Looks good so far. And remember, I actually have a TQ bonus here. Okay, now these guys have to make checks too. Ouch. He's fine. And now we actually resolve the combat. I don't want to fiddle through all that. I'll come back after the result. Shit. As my heavy phalanxes are running away, I'm realizing, crap, I'm forgetting their hoplites. I'm forgetting their special capability here, which I don't know applies to them in the normal game, but I'm pretty sure does in Tyrant, which has to do with let's see if it's explained over here in Tyrant. God damn it, now I can't find it, but I'm pretty sure that there's a rule somewhere where something gets a chance to stick around and it has a longer lasting lifespan. And unfortunately, this rule book, like all of the early GBOH rule books, is a pain in the ass to find things. Like somewhere in here there is a special little rule, like so many other special little rules, and I don't remember it completely, so I have to find it, which has to do, here we go, phalanx rout. Double-sized phalanxes and hoplite heavy do not rout like a, no, that's not it. Okay, yeah. So there was a chance that these were not routed. Basically, if they fail a TQ check, one of them's at +1. I don't remember which one. Okay, so both of these actually succeed and survive. I'm like this. I'm not going to worry about that one. But both of these are actually only at 5 hits. Otherwise, you know, we were seeing these things just dissolving so easily. But this one has to go forward, right? No, he does not, because I didn't dislodge that. But wait a minute. And this one has a chance of breaking. And it goes. I don't know where to find them. And you can see those lights are breaking all over the place, but and that means these go forward. This takes a cohesion hit and has to make another check, which it again survives. Because anytime those heavy phalanx, those heavy double-sized units go over their quality, they have a chance of surviving. They make a saving throw, basically. And like I said, I'm not going to worry about this sucker. Hey, I do not get to go again because I was in a zone of control at some point. I'm noticing something interesting here. My chariots are actually pretty good against cavalry. Heavy cav, I'm attacker superior against. Light cav, I'm attacker superior against. Let's see. If cav is not attacker superior against chariots, not attacker. So my chariots actually have an advantage here against those. I'm going to launch these guys and activate this guy. That's I think 2. 3 I'm moving in. He takes a javelin shot. This guy's out of ammo. Okay, a 4 javelin. This is mounted javelin. That's not going to work. Now I can fire my archer, which I believe is going to be a mounted archer. I'm not sure. I can't find... Chariots aren't really listed on any of these. Okay, and we're low on ammo, which is fine. And now we're gonna get a must TQ there. This thing, jeez, I don't know if I want to shock with it or not, but I can't really get out of there. So I guess I'll give it a shock no TQ. Got the wrong one here. I got another chariot here. 2, 3 goes in here. There's no fire by the Syracusians. I miss, but that's not a 9. A 9 is the only thing that causes me problems there. So I'll get that. That's 3 units. I have 2 more that I can activate. Now, I could have done a line command, but not really, not with those chariots in there. I think I want to recover this. He's not in anybody's zone. Get that out of there. So that's 3 are activated. I don't have to pay activation for the heavy here, because that's that's not actually moving or doing anything. It's just going to be attacking. So now I've got 3 actions done. I'm not going to be able to slip through with anything else. 1, 2, 3, 4. I could actually rally a couple of these. Is there anything down here that I want to rally? That's a light infantry. 1, 2, 3, 4. Out of range. These are all lights, huh? Alright, we're going to try rallying these guys. 2 of these guys. So, let's roll for the closest one to that side. I get a 4. That's under my initiative, which means I rally. But now I go to the rally table. My printed TQ is 4 or 5. I roll a 5, so I come back with 2 hits against me. I think I can face however I like. So I'll face this way, and we'll try the same here. And we have a success. And I think we roll again. I think when a unit is rally, I roll the die and consult the rally table. On the column, the number of cohesion hits given to the rallied unit. Yeah, it has to be, I think. Okay. So my second was an 8, which means I'm going to have 4 hits on him, which isn't good, but whatever. And now we have our shocks. We got to do tactical quality for both pairs there. On the blue side. So 6, with a 3 morale. Oh, he routs. Okay, what about the other one? The other one holds. So he's getting out of there. And same check here. A problem with those damn chariots. Hey, one of them survives. An 8. An 8 is a 3 morale hit, which sounds like that's going to rout this shit. Now the 2 routes run away. I can run like this, and I can run, Jesus, I don't know where I can run with this guy. Not in anybody's zone there, so I can run that way. Okay, and now we have to make this attack. This does not advance because it routed before the attack the clash actually happened. But here I've got an 8 cav, an 8 quality cav. A heavy cav hitting a light cav, I'm not charging, so I'm not going to get an attacker superiority, but I do still have to look at the clash of spears. Heavy cav hitting light cav in the front is probably not bad. That's a 9. Sizes are the same, so we'll see. I roll pretty well. So I take 2, they take 3. Now 2 is going to rout me, 3 is going to rout him harder. So I go up to a 7. And this thing routs. And where does it go? Guess it can run this way. Get rid of this. I have a possibility now of a continuation. 5. Hey, I get the first continuation we've seen so far this game. Now, that continuation could be trumped. If this guy tries to trump, he has a 50-50 chance of doing so. I don't know if I see this continuation as that dangerous, so I'm going to let him have it. Now, I don't remember if these can be recovered, because they were not recovered before. I know the other guys who were recovered can't be, but I think I can recover the units that were rallied. I just can't move them, but maybe I can't do anything at all about them, so I'm going to have to look that up. And, you know, once you get used to most of these rules and you're willing to not look them up, even if you're wrong, and you know, you're not trying to explain everything in detail on the camera and you're just playing it, it moves really quickly and it's a lot of fun. Trying to do it this way, man, the game is a headache, you know? And this is something I experienced every time. I really enjoy these when I'm not explaining them. And honestly, playing opposed is almost as unenjoyable when you first start playing opposed with someone, because you're probably not too familiar with the rules. You're having to look things up. Both you and your opponent maybe have some a different understanding of the rules, which, you know, is probably pretty easy to clear up, but you're also like watching like a hawk to see, hey, you know, to pick up, not just to make sure the other guy's doing things right, but to make sure you understand things correctly, etc. But once you get a game or two under your belt with someone else, it feels again closer to playing solo. So, you know, it's the same kind of situation. It's very painful to pick up and get used to. So I'm not able to rally him, and in fact all units are missile no at this point. They seem to lose their missiles when they're routed, which is why it doesn't make a difference why you don't need both markers. Which means I have kind of a tough thing. I did rally him, or recover him. I can recover this, that's 1. I don't know what else I'm going to do. I think I'm mainly going to be recovering things. I'll figure out what the hell's going on. I don't want to do this on camera anymore. 3 activations, some rallying obviously here. I don't know, he probably couldn't be rallied. No, that's just his own unit. I've got some problems, which is some of these route throughs, but they're not going to have to route through my units. They can go towards the sea, and then I can deal with them. I moved my leader so that I could rally this. I tried to rally this thing, it died. Got a couple of deaths back here, points accumulating towards my route level, which is 65. That puts us to, that was a 5. That puts us to the 5s over here. I think that's all that's left. And I need another break. You know, every time I try to do this at all on camera, it just kills me. So we're in the ugly situation where this guy here can't give a line command. He can't give a command at all. Oh wait, he's the overall commander. Oh, I can pull him out of there. I can't give a line command, but I can order these units. So that's okay. These units I don't have to order. So I'm gonna, I don't remember, I think it's only 1 for yourself. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's get another hex. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. And then I can order these units to move forward. So we had some routaways. Trying to figure out why both of these routed. Oh, there was a unit. Yeah, there was a unit here that got hit by this. This guy got knocked back. Okay. By his approach. So, we had a success here, sort of. We got our way into place, knocked a unit out. But over here, things get complicated. So this unit smacked into this and routed it. But it routed it with only 6 points, which means it had a good chance of recovering, and oh yeah, it did. But now it's got to make the, hey, maybe I'm too close to falling over the edge, and the same problem is here and here, where, you know, I'm just rolling for these units and they're sticking there, but I'm making lots of rolls to determine that, yeah, they're still there. You know, it's kind of obnoxious. So let's try the Carthaginian, the Greek mercenaries there. Okay, so they got a rout check. Now, they're 4 over the rout check. Let me, so this is at +4, which is going to be a 10. This unit's actually going to go. And it's gone, by the way. I mean, it's just a matter of how much damage can it do while it's routing. This one also has to check. And I should have checked both at once, probably. Because there is, okay, he's fine. And now we go to these guys. And we got to check all of them. First, the blue guy, he's okay. He actually drops down to a 4. Did this guy drop down? No, he has no chance of going. He didn't have to roll. I don't know if I did for him. So he's going to drop down to a 4. Because he recovers in the face of the enemy. And then this guy's got no problem whatsoever. And the other one has a chance of going. He succeeds, he also drops down to a 4, feeling a little healthier. And we put these in. And now these are all marked moved, just don't worry about it. As the game gets deeper in, I have to worry more about it, but right now I don't. I can't be trumped, so if I get my momentum, I get it, and I do. However, I was adjacent to an enemy, so now I didn't get to check. So that's all I get to do, which means I go over to here, and I don't know what to do with this. I can fill in this line a little bit, but or maybe recover and work on some of these units. And a bunch of recovery it was, although I did move some over here, then I slung over here and tried to help the cav a little bit. Now we worry about the routing. Well, I'm not quite sure what happens with those suckers. I don't know if they get another retreat before they disappear. I think they just go away. The unit may not be rallied in the rout phase. It's just eliminated. Okay. So this comes off the board. We don't have to worry about what damage it can do. And we're going to see some significant points here. This guy gets to move. 1. That's a cohesion hit, not a movement point. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, God. And a mess. Let's get these rallied markers off here. They're all fine. I get to recover my missiles because I'm out of range. This thing routes. It's got 7 movement. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yay, off the board. This is a hill unit, so I've got to keep it separate. C unit, so I got to keep it separate. And then I route these. I'll come back with what the points are. And I unflip the units, the leader units. This appears to be pretty much, unless I missed a unit, unflipping the situation at the end of the turn. You can see these lights have started causing more chaos running through here. Get this guy running away. The cav, that Trojan cav or whatever, it ran through one of my heavies and sent it flying, and now I've taken 3 hits here point-wise. Syracuse has lost 34. The seaside guys have only lost 16. The hill 24. It's looking pretty bad for Syracuse in terms of the point basis. I'm letting these cav run. I could have gone and chased one down to try to activate it. See, the problem is I can either command these hoplites. You know, I want to recover my cav. That's too rich cav. The problem is, of course, the hoplites are back there, and this guy is unable to do anything because he's engaged right now, so he can't command any of this, which means all those lights may actually get to do something impressive. Of course, on the other side, most of his command is routing, so he may try to recover his command, but it would be pretty impressive if he could knock these suckers out. He might overall win the situation. This is a really tough call as to whether or not to use the leader down here on the cav or over here on the hoplites. I'm going to send this one up. This is the end of 2 turns, and we're starting a new turn.